Congratulations on your new mechanical clock. If you're new to clock ownership, you might be wondering, how do I wind it? Don't worry, winding a clock is a simple process that keeps your clock running accurately and smoothly. Whether it's a tall case clock like a grandfather clock, or a wall clock, or a simple mantle clock, the process is pretty similar, but there are some key differences that I'll note in this video. I'll walk you through the basic steps of winding a mechanical clock. You'll learn the different types of clocks, how to use a winding key, and most importantly, how often you should wind. In the end, you'll feel very confident in keeping your clock running and maintaining its timekeeping accuracy. So let's begin with the first type of clock. The first type of clock we're going to look at is called the shelf clock. And this is a weight-driven clock made by Seth Thomas in the 1850s. Technically, it's called a column and cornice clock. The columns here, and there's a cornice above, which you may not be able to see. And this clock is driven by weights. So you have a weight on this side and a weight on that side. This weight on the right side of the clock controls the time train, and this one on the left side of the clock is the strike train. So you have basically two winding points, one for the time side and one for the strike side. So there's a winding crank that comes with this clock. I place a winding crank into one of the winding holes, and then I wind, in this case, counterclockwise, and bring the weight right to the very top. I take the key out, put it in the other winding point, and then clockwise, in this case, it's not always counterclockwise and clockwise, but in this case it's counterclockwise and clockwise. I wind the weight so that it is at the very top of the clock. Once it's wound, I might make an adjustment to the time. Making the adjustment to the time may require adjusting the length of the pendulum down here. There's a little knurled nut that I can turn one way or the other to make the pendulum longer or shorter, and then I can adjust the time. So I'm going to check on this one, and this one is a little off by about 30 seconds, so I'll make just a little time adjustment right there. And what I'll do, since it's a little bit slow, I'll take that pendulum and I just give it a slight nudge in a clockwise direction. Okay? That should correct for the time. Once that's done, make sure the winding key is in a safe place. In this case, it's right beside the clock. And then close up the clock, and it should run for a week. So that's the first type of clock. This is a shelf clock. Shelf clocks come in many varieties. Another type is an OG. These are 30-hour OG clocks, which means that they have to be wound once a day. So from a shelf clock, we now move to a wall clock. And this is a Maute wall clock. Some people pronounce it mouth. From the late 19th century, 1895 to 1899. German made. And this clock, to wind it, you open the door. It's not running right now. You open the door, and then you wind each side. In this case, the spring is very slack, so you wind each side like this. Now, when you wind a clock, wind it till you can wind it no further. In this case, we're near the end. You can feel the tension, and that's it. That's the end. Now that's the strikes, the time side here. Now we're going to wind the strike side. So again, we'll wind it till it winds no further. And there it is, tight. Okay, I give the pendulum a slight push, adjust the time in this case, and we'll just check to see whether the clock will strike. I'm just advancing the minute hand when we do that. So the key, very important to have a key that is made to fit the arbor. Shouldn't be too tight, but it shouldn't be loose either. A loose key will eventually strip the arbor. So it's important to right size your key. If you're missing one, measure the arbor for the correct key size and then buy the key accordingly from a clock supplier. Key goes in there. The door is latched and we're ready to go. The next type of clock is called a tall case clock, most commonly known as a grandfather clock. This particular clock was made in Scotland in 1848. Now to wind this clock requires a winding key. This is the winding key here. It's a number 11. That's the size of the key. It's quite a large arbor. So what I do is I open the door to the clock. There's a bottom door that I can open as well. And I'm noting that the two weights are near the top, meaning that I just wound this clock probably yesterday. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll take the winding arbor, and this is the time side here, and then we'll bring the weight up to the top of the clock. Now there is a stop, and I'll wind it very slowly until I hit the stop. There it is right there. And then this is the time side of the clock. This is the left arbor. And you'll notice how the weight travels up as I turn the winding crank. And again, I'll wind to the stop right there. Take the key out. The weights are completely at the top. I close the door. In this case, the clock is running a tad fast. So not now, but I'll make a slight adjustment to the pendulum down here. Close the door, and I'll put the crank key on the side of the clock right here. Okay, this is a Ridgway grandfather clock made by the Pulaski Furniture Company in the 1990s, about 1996. And the difference between this clock and the one that you saw before is this one has what's called pull-up weights. Now a clock that has cables has two winding holes here, and then a crank is used to crank the weights up. In this case, the weights have to be pulled up. The weights are already at the very top of this clock. This is the chain right here. And what I do is I wear gloves because I'm going to steady the weights as I pull the chain. And in this case, they're already pulled to the top. So what I do is I'll pull down on the chain, but steady the weights with my hands. The reason why I wear gloves is because there's a coating on top of the weights, and the sweat of your hands will eventually eat through the coating, and you will have tarnished weights. So the weights are brought up to the very top. I tend to bring them up to about there, but as they go through the week, they'll descend more or less together until they get to the very bottom, and then it requires bringing the weights up again. So this clock must be wound once a week. So that is a Ridgway grandfather clock. This is a mantel clock from 1927. It is made by Sessions. Very common clock. Thousands of these were made. And in this clock, there are two winding arbors. There is one winding arbor on the right and one on the left. This is for the time side of the time train. The movement is behind here, and this is the arbor. Once wound, causes the time train to run, and this is the strike train. So what you do every 8 days is take a key. Now I've got two keys here. I've got this key, which is a number 6 key. I have another key which is also a number 6, but this is what's called a double-ended key. And what it does is there's a smaller piece here and a larger one here. The larger one fits into winding points here and here. And again, you wind it till you can't wind it any further. I've already wound that somewhat. Feeling a lot of tension, and that's the limit to this side. The smaller end here is a regulator key, which causes the clock to run fast or slow. You'll see an F for fast and an S for slow. You insert this into a very, very tiny arbor. Turning it clockwise causes the clock to run slower, S, and turning it counterclockwise causes the clock to run faster. So again, once a week, and then once you wound the clock, both sides, then you put the key into safe space. So in some clocks there's a little hook on the back. In this particular clock, I'll just simply lay it on the side of the clock like this. So that is a Time and Strike mantle clock. I hope this guide gives you confidence in winding your mechanical clock and keep it ticking for years to come. If you want to share your experiences or you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and if you would like to hear more clock tips and restoration ideas, please let me know. Happy clock keeping.